year. If we didn't hire anyone new for 3 years, we'd be down by 36,000 people, where we were just 5 years ago. We've got to look at eliminating fraud. Most of our systems in the state of California are not automated the way you might imagine, given that we are the technology leader in America in the state of California. So just the administration of Medicare and Medi-Cal, people say there's between $4.8 and $5.2 billion worth of fraud embedded in those systems. We've got to save that. If we did, we wouldn't get all of it. We'd get about $2.5 billion, and the Feds would get $2.5 billion. That would be good. So these are the kinds of things we have to go after. And it is not easy. And I know everyone who runs for office talks about this. We have to actually do it this time. And actually, I think that's where having a business background comes into play here. I deeply understand how to do this. And we have got to take it up because we are shortchanging our UC system. We're shortchanging our educational system. We are shortchanging the health and welfare benefits for people who really need them. And we could do more if we were really serious about running the government more efficiently. And then last but not least, and then I'd love to go to questions, I want to talk about our kindergarten through 12th grade education system. This is really a shame what has happened to our system over the last 30 or 40 years. And we have got to turn the corner on this. So here's what I think we ought to do. And I've spent a lot of time looking at any number of education reform movements. But I have to tell you, I'm a big believer in the 80-20. What is 20% of the reforms we can do that will get you 80% of the way home? Because if you try to do every educational reform, you will be stymied. So here's the 3 things I think we ought to do. First is, we've got to grade every single public school in California A through F. A simple letter grade so that parents understand how good their child's school is. Now you can actually learn how good your child's school is by going to the API scores, but you've got to multiply by 10, divide by 3 to actually figure it out. Let's give the schools a very simple letter grade. Then I think we have to increase the number of charter schools dramatically. Charter schools do better by our children. Not every charter school is perfect, but by and large, all the results say they do better. And they do one other very important thing. They give parents a chance to move your child. So if your child is in an F school, you have some place to go. And today we have a cap on the number of charter schools in California, 1,350. I think we have to remove that charter school cap, and we need more charter schools here. And then last, we've got to find the very best teachers in our school system. You know, the gems of the education system are the teachers. Big classes, small classes, great facilities, not such great facilities. If you've got a great teacher in the classroom, everything else works out. So let's find those great teachers and pay them more. And people might say, but how in the world can we afford that? So here's how we can do it. If you think about the total money that California spends on education today, it's about $70 billion. $50 billion from the state, $20 billion from the federal government. Guess what percent of that, roughly, because it's hard to know the exact number, guess what percent of that goes to overhead versus in classroom? It's about 50%. So can we move some of the overhead into in-classroom? That's where the kids are learning. That's where the gifted programs are. That's where the English as a second language learners are. That's where the kids with special needs are. So let's move some of that money, pay the better teachers more, and focus on where the learning occurs and move it closer to the children. So that's what I want to focus on. Jobs, spending, and education. It's not that other things aren't important. They are. But my view is unless we tackle these 3 things, I'm not sure it matters what else we do. And I really am a big believer that if you try to go to Sacramento and boil the ocean, if you will get nothing done. And we will be having the same conversation 4 years from now and 8 years from now. So let's all band together and fundamentally try to change the direction of this state. And it will take a different approach. You know, I was reminded of a saying the other day. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over again and hoping for different results. We have got to change the way we're doing business here. What we know has not worked, so let's try a different approach with real leadership and a real focus on being accountable and delivering the results. So thank you again for inviting me today. I'd love to answer questions on any subject, so fire away.